Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds, and if you have a hive that's queenless and the bees are getting old, this is the best combine that I know how to do. And it's very simple, but it's very important in my opinion. So here I have a pretty strong little nuke right here, and we're just going to pop it open just to kind of give you some context. This is a 2/6 frame nuke, so there's a lot of bees in here, but they are hopelessly queenless. They do not have a way to raise their own queen right now. They tried and they were not successful, and so now I need to give them something immediately. They don't really have any brood left. This is the only frame I saw with brood on it, and they're emerging out, and there's only like a couple left over, so there is still time. Some of these bees in here are still young, but we can't wait any longer, and this is why it's always so nice to have extra nukes or queens in your back pocket. So this hive is queenless. It's already been extremely irritable, hence the gloves and everything like that. And what we are going to do is we are going to take a piece of newspaper and just make sure that the newspaper doesn't have anything like how much the price of honey is, like 15 bucks a pound. The bees might see that and unionize, and then we're all in for it. So don't do that. We are going to take this other box right here, and there's a couple things that we got to do is make sure there's some ventilation. We'll show you how to do that in a second, and we're also going to do this right here. So we are just going to slice a couple tiny holes. This just gets the bees started on chewing through this, and we are going to introduce this nuke that's right over here. And I want to show you these bees because when you have a strong colony like that does not have any brood on the way, it's harder to get those things requeened, and then the paper combined really buys you more time. But it's also very important to have a good cohort of bees with the queen you're introducing, and for the queen to be laying, she's going to be a lot more desirable. So this is a nuke that's got a lot of food on this side. It's not a super strong nuke yet, but it's on the way. So let me set it like this, and that is a food frame right there. I tell you, these gloves just get in the way. This nuke will be a lot more chill. If I get stung, I'll just holler. You guys will know and share in with my pain. All right, so we have a nice pattern right here of brood. There is eggs and larvae on the corners. This colony's on the way up. Very nice. Watch me drop this on the video, Laurel. That won't be very good. I'm trying to get it to where you guys can see what I'm doing, and I also can get these in there, but sometimes you just can't have it all. So here we have another nice frame of brood. The queens should be marked in this nuke. Yeah, I see her on the next frame. So look at all these new bees that are on the way. And this colony could benefit from a few more bees, so this new queen can expand quickly. And then there's our queen right there. She's running around, got that nice green dot on her, and she's laying that up. They have food on the edges. There's a lot of resources down into that nuke. There is young bees, but there's also bee bread. There is sugar syrup and honey down in there. There is a little bit of a honey flow going on right now. If there was not a little bit of a flow going on, I would have a little feeder in the bottom as well, so that both parties, when they get to that newspaper, are well fed. They're sharing sugar syrup. In this case, they'll be sharing sugar syrup and nectar, and that just really helps a lot. Now this is a 6-frame nuke, so I only have 5 frames from that 5-frame nuke box, but it'll work. I'll come back soon and add another frame, and I'm just going to stick them just like this, making sure that newspaper is slit. Now there's 2 really important things. One, this colony needs some feed. They're not going to be able to forage for a couple of days, and also it really helps them merge together, this colony especially having feed. And the other thing that's really important is we need ventilation. That newspaper has basically cut that off down there. So we got to make sure that we leave some ventilation in this top box, or these bees are in trouble. So one other little thing that I like to do, it's not necessary, but if they're not going to be able to forage, they're not going to be able to go get pollen. And well-fed bees perform really well. So we are going to take this rocket fuel patty right here that we get at the conference. I think they're around $2.10 a pound, which is pretty good for a loaded patty. These are nice. And just like you guys, I load up on them. So I slice that, creating a lot more surface area. Excuse me. And now those bees will be able to guard that better and consume that a lot better. These 6-frame nukes I asked Miller Bee Supply to make for me. I like them because in other ones I have frame feeders going, but they also made it to where I can put jars into them as well. I really like that. And I like how I asked them if they would add a 3/4 inch rim here. That's really handy, and I'll show you why. Let me get those other bees off. And that leaves so much headspace up here. I still have a 1/2 inch over those patties. Those bees are able to consume it from the top and guard that from small hive beetles consuming it faster. This is a soft patty. This works great for me. And I'm a big fan of feeding pollen patties in our summer dearth. My bees are just so much stronger because of it. Now I'm going to scoot this patty over just a little bit because my feeder jar will be sitting right here, and I don't want that dripping onto that patty and making that really moist and running that all down the comb. So there's that to watch out for. Now what about ventilation? So this is where you can really hurt yourself by killing this nuke up top. All right, let me find some stuff. Oh, here it is. This is an expensive trick, but it's worth every cent. And we are just going to add these little, something like a penny would work in this day. I mean, with inflation the way it is, what's a penny, you know? So you can use some pennies on the edges of these. You can get yourself some twigs, whatever it is. But you just want a little bit of ventilation there, and you can make something with some screens and get really fancy. But I really don't want the bees flying out of here because I'd prefer this colony to have as many bees as possible so that they can spread the queen's pheromones like they already want to do, and they also can protect her just in case there's a few cantankerous bees down below. Typically, I never see any issues with a paper combine like this. Now we just take this jar, invert it over here, and whammo. It's that simple. This is an expensive method, but it works. Newspaper, if you can find a newspaper, and a couple of twigs. Got our little bit of ventilation right here. It's probably about a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit more than that, probably between a 1/16 and an 1/8. And that's going to work nicely right there. So I'm not going to come back into this colony for a week. I'm going to let them drain this jar, and I'm going to come back 7 days later, and I bet you I'm going to see a queen. So why don't we just stick around for a little bit and see if she's come back.